From the steps of the Fort Lauderdale courthouse, Roger Stone gave a defiant salute in the manner of his political hero, the disgraced President Richard Nixon. The ensuing boos nearly drowned out his declaration that he will fight the charges and win. Stone echoed what the president usually says whenever someone from his campaign team is indicted.
The charges today relate in no way to Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or any other illegal act in connection with the 2016 campaign.
That is true. The specific charges don't relate to collusion, WikiLeaks, or the 2016 campaign. But the story told in the indictment definitely does. It says Stone lied about his efforts to get information from Julian Assange's WikiLeaks about emails stolen by Russian hackers from the Democratic National Committee and from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And it says Stone acted on behalf of Donald Trump's presidential campaign. One section of the indictment particularly stands out. It says that after WikiLeaks first released its stolen emails, a senior Trump campaign official was directed to contact Stone about any additional releases and what other damaging information WikiLeaks might have about the Clinton campaign. The way it's written seems deliberately to raise a question. Who had the authority to direct a senior campaign official? The answer would seem to be very few people, perhaps only Donald Trump or someone in his family. Trump tweeted his familiar accusation that the special counsel investigation is the greatest witch hunt in the history of our country. No collusion. And he asked who alerted CNN to be there. That question arose from these CNN pictures at the moment the FBI arrived at Stone's house this morning. The official White House position remains.
This has nothing to do with the president and certainly nothing to do with the White House.
And Stone made sure to say that he still has the president's back.
There is no circumstance whatsoever under which I will bear false witness against the president.
That might be cold comfort to the president, Andrew. The indictment is supported by documentary evidence and indicates other sources of information that suggest the Mueller investigation might not even need Stone's testimony.
And so, Keith, is the link between the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks, and Russian interference in the campaign, is that the collusion that Mueller's been looking for?
Well, the indictment certainly indicates that the Trump campaign, through Roger Stone, was trying to reach out to WikiLeaks for information about emails stolen by the Russians in the hope of finding dirt on the Clinton campaign. So the indictment makes Stone an important link in what looks more like collusion today than it did yesterday. And add to that what we already knew about Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort sharing polling data with a Kremlin-connected Russian, and what we might yet learn about the meeting at Trump Tower between Russians and the Trump campaign.
Okay, Keith Bogue, thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew.
Roger Stone's indictment brings to 37 the number of indictments or findings of guilt connected to Robert Mueller's investigation. Many of those are for lying or finance crimes. Some are for meddling in the 2016 election. But when it comes to connecting the dots, most of the people fall into three general groups. Some were part of Trump's campaign. One had a personal relationship, and many are tied to Russia. In that first group, among those convicted, Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn, both high-profile advisors. Also pleading guilty, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's longtime personal lawyer. And then there are the Russians, connected to the election, but not to Trump personally. 13 people indicted for election meddling and 12 military intelligence officers charged with hacking. So, what many are waiting to see, how tightly Mueller will tie them to the other groups, if at all.